Kyle here from allmediareviews.blogspot.com. I'm going to try to do at least somewhat of an official review quickly as possible of the new gospel album that I talked about more than one occasion, at least once in front of the blogs and stuff like that, that I finally got my vinyl copy in the mail. I mean, there's a limited number of these. Long story is shipping out of Europe. This shipping out of, I think, manufactured and shipping out of Europe. Gospel's you call them I'd heard that I guess they're a screamo or post-hardcore punk band. But yeah, Dog. This says Clever Eagle Records though. But anyway, they're from New York. The long story short, they had this album called Moon is a Dead World, and it came out in 2005. They played live. They broke up. They came back and did Tango in 2010. And that was for a benefit. That was just brief, and then they did a reunion after that in 2010 again, like in 2019, I think, and 20. There's stuff on their Instagram. They were showing stuff of like pictures they kept on posting of 7-Eleven for some reason. I don't know, but this is the follow-up, the official full-length follow-up. But they're not just a screamo band, post-hardcore band. I mean, that's the largest style, I guess you could say. But then the prog rock, and the math rock style is very prominent in their music. And that's why I like them. I'm not typically into screamo or punk. I mean, some exceptions. The technical, busy, mathy bands like Circle Take Square, and I mentioned some of the other ones in there. Propagandy, the band that Jeff Zampillo was in. That he later did Pneumatic Transit, but that band had some screaming in it. Anyway, I'll remember it later. But this is the loser. I know that the cardboard thing looks really weird, and it's sort of the spirit of it. And it's become a buzz album, at least it was initially when it came out about a month ago. Yeah, it was about a month ago, and it took a while for the record to come in. I just got the standard black. I think there were some other colors, but the labels are kind of neat. But yeah, they're from New York. I'm not sure if they were from Brooklyn. One of the boroughs, of course. I remember looking them up and was wondering if they knew Apes and Androids. I think Apes and Androids, similar probably generation, and Apes and Androids, among other, that whole like scene that was in New York and Brooklyn specifically. Like MGMT was there, and a lot of the indie-tronica stuff, but some prog or the post-hardcore and prog stuff came out of that. Why am I not thinking of the Jeff Zampillo band? Anyway, so just to get into it as briefly as possible, I've probably listed, I didn't even show the gatefold. This is a more interesting cover art than the actual front and back with the cardboard. It's kind of a trip. I mean, it's only like 38 minutes. It has its highlights for sure, but at the same time, I think it's definitely another case, and like seeing most of the albums I like, not all, but of, the whole thing is greater than some of its parts, or it just flows beginning to end pretty damn well. I mean, the styles of sound and types of tracks or songs don't vary like that much, I haven't listened to Moon is a Dead World. I'm guilty of that. I've just been dealing with so much stuff, my music consumption, and just trying to consume all the stuff that came out last month especially. Have limited, listened to some other stuff, but I definitely should, just like I needed to revisit the previous Purism Revolution album, Eupnia. But I guess my favorites, Tango is the song that's on here. It's on here. That still is the number one track. That's the best thing to me that gospel ever did. It's just so well crafted. The textures, especially I love those sort of like organic, almost 70s vintage style kind of Hammond B3, or the organs they use, and it just fits so well in that psychedelic, spacey mood that those create. And it somehow works. It sounds like it would be incongruous. Like those two things wouldn't work with post-hardcore screaming and those like kind of heavy, punchy muscle riffs. But it does, for some reason, with this band and a few other exceptions. This band does it more or less better than any band. I mean, I was thinking At the Drive-In too, but it somehow works, even though they've released very little music. But so Tango is the sixth track, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the fifth track. The one before it, the first single, SRO, would be another highlight, and then the one before that, Hyper. So that 3-track string are the biggest, my favorite parts of this record, but I mean, it's got those like segues and climaxes and just kind of raw emotion, which that's the kind of the epitome of the style of screamo. Raw emotion. That's almost cliche, but it's proggy. I mean, they have a lot of time changes. The drummer, who, do I have the drummer's name on here? I didn't look. They don't even have the credits for the drummer. Oh, wait, it's here. Recorded by Kurt Ballou and assistance from Zach Weeks and Steve Johnson. I mean, I've got the bandcamp page. I don't know if they've got... The drummer was on a podcast. He's, in some ways, the best, like the biggest MVP of this band. Maybe it's Kurt Ballou. I should go on to Rate Your Music. But, he's very technical, very busy. I mean, it's like some of this, like Zach Hill, very kind of, I mean, sometimes it's a little not saying it's overkill, it's almost being sort of busy for the sake of being busy and trying to stay in rhythm and having inertia. Vincent Roseboom is listed as their drummer, though he's not listed on this. So, I mean, it's a reunion album, but I don't know if it's a reunion album of every single member. I'm hardly their biggest fan. Okay, I'm looking at it. Yeah, he didn't actually, that gentleman did not play on this. At least it's not listed in the credits. I don't know. Kurt Ballou, Zach Weeks, Steve Johnson, Magnus Lindberg did the mastering. These are more like the engineers, and the the members aren't linked anywhere on here. Yeah, I mean, the rest of the track list, there's no reason to skip any of them. Bravo, Dear Ghost, White Spaces, Metallic Olives. The more I hear that track, I'm enjoying it. And the last track, Warm Bed. I mean, like I said, it's not homogenous in a way. Some of these songs have a similar kind of approach, but it just flows so well. It's like if this was one song, I wouldn't be surprised. It's like a suite. I mean, it's not, but it isn't. I mean, it's like Misplaced Childhood or Pleasant Shade of Grey by Fate's Warning, or, you name it. Albums that sound, the Beatles, Abbey Road side 4, the last side, the suite. It feels almost like a suite. The irony is, I'm just going to add to it. I mentioned this before, that they're expected, and they didn't put it on this album. They're expected to put out an EP that's not going to be on this Dogfight Records, Dog Night Records rather. DK. There's the loser. You can see the label there. It's called. They played it live. It's a 23-minute piece, The Magic Volume of Dark Matter. I don't know when it's going to come. I haven't been monitoring everything religiously. There's certain message boards, certain communities online that are totally hardcore, obsessed with this band, and it was such a massive deal for this album to come out, The Loser by Gospel. So, yeah, I mean, I'm still not doing my albums of the year yet, and I've decided to kind of go back to the traditional time frame. It will probably be sometime in mid to late June, so it's a few weeks away, so it's the 6th of June today. At least a week and change, so I have some time off, and I'll have time to come up with it. But I think I'm not more enthused about one record this year than this coming out for whatever reason. Not that it necessarily will be my album of the year, but yeah, this is just something. If you can tolerate the screaming and you like psychedelic prog with energy and just raw emotion, just say raw emotion a billion times. That's really what this is. It's like putting this out there. It's almost like all this time that they spent between the breakups and comeback and breakup and all this time was put into this. We're going to make a statement when we come back. Even though they played live for a few years, a little bit like what Faith No More did, and although their comeback album was just okay. Who was the Refused? Also, another band sort of in this vein where it's punk, but it's sort of experimental, artsy, technical at times punk, and very riffy. But yeah, they should do a tour of Refused, actually. So, but what's your take on Gospel? If you've heard that, if you are a prog fan and are tolerant of vocals, if you like death metal, you can tolerate the death metal vocals, maybe you'd be able to handle. His vocals don't sound youthful, like young, the way that Circus Survive and a bunch of those, like Harvard, those bands, the singer bugs the bejesus out of me. It's pretty much almost all screaming. But it just blends to me with the guitar parts the way a lot of death metal and progressive death metal and that kind of stuff and black metal I've been able to tolerate those styles of music at times, but the music itself is so good. The vocals don't really bother me, and they add something unique about it. If it was just all clean singing, I don't know. I could see them, maybe they added a little bit of clean singing, it would be a nice mix, but I don't know if it needs it. It's just so good the way it is, but I would say it's still definitely a mood album because of the way, the style. I'm not gonna sort of like put this on if I'm having a terrible day, or I'm not gonna put this on if it's like a birthday party or something like that. It's definitely one that for the headphones. There is a little bit issue I have with some of the cymbals clipping on like the first few tracks. Bravo, Dear Ghost. Dear Ghost is one of them. And even a little bit like on Hyper, but Hyper is such a tremendous... I mean, it fits the title of that track, because it's very hyper. It sounds like that math rock, that really busy technical math rock. It's not metal, but... and so that's why it's maybe the most technical track on the album, so... Anyway, that's my take on gospel. I'll be probably listening to it the rest of the year. I'm looking forward to, hopefully, that EP, that 23-minute epic that they wrote. And that would sort of be a companion with this. You know, if you add that on, this is almost 2022 is the year of gospel and the comeback of gospel. We'll see. Who knows if that's going to come out? Maybe not till next year or something. But they've, I guess, recorded and they thought about putting it on here. It would have made this record almost 70 minutes. So, you know, like over 60. They maybe didn't want to do that. So, and it's its own thing, I guess. There's a live version. I'll try to link it, actually. There's a live version on YouTube you can check out. So, but thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and we'll see you next time. One more thing to add. I was just showing this. I didn't... Stickers I got with it. So I should just make a small announcement that I don't have probably time today to do, but I'll probably do a collection, vinyl/CD collection update. But yeah, this is for the gospel. I don't know what that looks like, a dog or with glasses. Dog, maybe that's what it is. Dog, Clever Eagle Records, but it's Dog Night Records too. Yeah, I have a bunch of stuff I need to show and talk about and open CDs and vinyl, and then some news items that I haven't mentioned that are new, and some news items that are older that I haven't mentioned, rather. One or two things that hopefully I'll have time tomorrow, since tomorrow's Tuesday and I'll have time to do that, since Monday and Tuesday is my days off. But yeah, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.